If you like my videos, don't forget to follow me on social media to keep up to date with all the latest news regarding my channel and my content. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe below or at the end of the video.
Black Panther review, go.
Woo, Black Panther!
G'day guys, Dave Lee coming at you once again from Down Under with another movie review. Today we are doing a spoiler review for Marvel's latest release, which is of course Black Panther. Now if you're used to my normal movie reviews, like my short kind of 5 to 8 minute reviews, my spoiler reviews are kind of a little bit different. My normal reviews I write beforehand and then I sort of read from the script. For these spoiler reviews I go off script, I don't write it, I just kind of take this as an advantage to kind of go a little bit more in depth on my thoughts on a movie in a way that I can express spoilers. That said, once again, this is quite obviously my spoiler review for Black Panther, so that means I'm gonna just be spoiling just about everything about this movie. So if you haven't seen this movie, I don't know what you're doing here. Go and watch it, then come back and watch this because I'm just gonna spoil it all. That said, I'm gonna be throwing out all the formalities of a normal movie review in this spoiler review here. I'm not gonna go over plot or synopsis or key points or any of that kind of stuff that you kind of say in a review to entice someone to go and see a movie. Because I'm assuming that you've all seen this movie. Again, if you haven't, then what are you doing here? So basically this is my chance to sort of go in depth with my thoughts on the movie, as well as sort of maybe vent on a few things that either I really loved about the movie that other people didn't love, or things that I didn't like about the movie that other people did love. So for example, with the Star Wars The Last Jedi, I sort of did a long review where I explained why I loved the movie amongst sort of like this huge fan backlash where people were going, I hate this movie, it sucked. I come out and said I love this movie. Well, I feel like it's kind of a little bit opposite with Black Panther. This movie's getting a lot of praise from a lot of people. I praise this movie very, very highly. I did do a regular review for this. If you want to check that out, you can either click the little link up, either one of these, somewhere on the screen, or at the end of the video, at the end, you can hear my sort of praises for the movie, everything like that. A lot of people have been praising a lot of things in this movie that I feel like didn't work, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. First things first, I really liked Black Panther. I've seen the movie 3 times now. I was lucky enough to attend 2 preview screenings for the Walt Disney Company prior to the movie's release, and I checked it out this weekend as well. I bought tickets to support the movie and go and see it again for a 3rd time. So I feel like I've really finally got my head wrapped around the movie and really feel like I can really properly do a proper review with properly formed thoughts. That said, I kind of feel like my thoughts haven't changed a lot about this movie from my first viewing of it to the 3rd one. I had a lot of narrative issues with the first movie. Things like most of the characters and most of the actors and the visual design and the celebration of African culture and everything I loved about this movie. I absolutely adored about this movie. It's fantastic, and there's no doubt that this movie is an incredibly groundbreaking cinematic experience, and I love it. I love it for that reason. But there are a few things about it, like kind of narratively, a couple of character things that I felt didn't work for myself, and I'm gonna kind of go over all of that stuff. In my first review, if you saw that, I basically praised the majority of the movie. I praised it, I highly praised it. I said it was absolutely spectacular. My opinion hasn't changed 3 views on, but I also then did say that the last act of the movie I wasn't a huge fan of. My feelings are the same. When I watched this the 2nd time, I got most of the way through the movie and was thinking, gee, I feel like I need to sort of revoke that review because I'm really loving this. I'm really loving it. And then it got to the point in the movie, which is what I referred to as the turning point in my normal review. I can say here, it's the point where Killmonger comes to Wakanda to challenge for the crown. That's kind of the turning point in the movie. And it was almost like the 2nd time I viewed it, I got to that point and I went, yeah, you know what, my thoughts haven't changed because I'm not enjoying this movie as much as I should, past probably about the hour 45, hour 50 mark. So it was about the last hour of the movie. I just felt like it didn't really work for me. I want to talk about this in depth. I've copped a little bit of flack in the comments section of my previous video about what I was saying about this last act. I expressed sort of a little bit of disappointment with the character of Killmonger and the way he was narratively developed in the movie. I had a lot of issues issues with. A small handful of people were taking that as me not understanding the character because I'm not of the same culture. I want to say that that is absolutely not the case. When I watch this movie, I'm watching it from a standpoint of a storyteller and someone who loves stories, loves being able to tell stories and loves being told stories, and someone who I feel like I have like a really good grasp around how to tell a story, how a story, a narrative, how a character should be shaped and developed throughout a movie. That's how I'm looking at this as a movie viewer and a movie reviewer as well. The whole racial thing, the whole cultural thing of this movie didn't come into play with my review. It doesn't come into play with how I feel about the characters or anything. I'm judging these as people, as characters in a movie. I'm not judging this as a cultural film. That said though, I did love the cultural aspect of this movie, but I feel like it's important that we can discuss both the cultural aspect of the movie and just the movie as a whole. The movie as a story with characters, and a story that has flaws and characters that do have flaws as well. So that's how I feel like I want to be able to talk about this without being sort of lambasted with comments saying you didn't understand the movie, or some people were saying they maybe took offense to my comments. That was not my intention. That was obviously not my intention. I'm not an offensive person. I love all people of all races, all creeds, all genders, all everything, okay? I believe everyone deserves the same rights, everyone deserves the same freedoms, everyone deserves to be equal. That's not what this is about though, okay? So I'm looking at this as a storytelling point of view, and that's how I want to look at this. So I just want to get that out of the way. I don't want to see those comments again because I don't like people insinuating things about me and my character. I'm a nice person, and I love everybody. So let's talk about my issues with this movie from a purely storytelling point of view. I said in the first review that I had issues with the character of Killmonger. One of the things I said was that I felt like his motive was kind of unbelievable. Maybe I picked my words a little bit wrong, okay? I believe in the motive. I think it was a very good motive that he had, and I understand why people can connect with this and relate with this. What I was trying to say, and what I perhaps said in a wrong way, was that I feel like narratively that motive, that story background just wasn't developed enough. Killmonger comes into the movie within the first kind of 5 minutes as a child, and then we don't see him again for another 10 minutes where he's an adult, and he kind of drifts into the movie. He helps Claw steal the vibranium from the British Museum, and then he nicks off again, and he's gone. And in my third viewing of this, I said to myself, you know what, I'm gonna time this, I'm gonna look back, I'm gonna figure out how long he's out of the movie. He's gone for about 45 to 50 minutes of the movie, at which point you've kind of forgotten about him. Claw is like the major villain of the first half of the movie, and you just kind of forget that Killmonger's around. And then he kicks into the movie again in sort of the last hour, and I feel like an hour of a movie is not enough time to give the character a proper background and a proper development. I feel like Killmonger comes into it and he goes, I'm Wakanda, and I'm going to go to Wakanda, and I'm going to challenge T'Challa for the crown. I just kind of felt like, okay, that's fair enough. I believe he should be able to do this. I agree in a way with what he's doing, but I don't feel like that character had the development to allow him to do that, to come in 1 hour into the movie and just do it. I felt like his background development, his character development, everything happened so quickly. It was like he wasn't in the first half of the movie, and then in the second half of the movie he's there, he's like, I'm Wakandan, I'm the son of the prince, I hate all of you guys for this reason, this reason, this reason, I hate you T'Challa, I'm going to challenge you for the crown, I'm going to be the king of Wakanda, and I'm going to share these resources with everyone. And I'm sitting there going, okay, alright, decent motive, okay, I'll agree with that, but it's not developed. This is 10 minutes of exposition telling us about the character. The character's telling us, I wanted to see this. This is something I wanted to see. This comes from somewhere I feel like I'm more disappointed that they didn't take the whole movie to develop this character. People are comparing this character to Heath Ledger's portrayal as the Joker in The Dark Knight. I disagree. The Joker in The Dark Knight is this completely, incredibly layered character who is portrayed so wonderfully, and his character is so well developed. He's the first character we open to in that movie. The movie opens with the bank heist, with the Joker rolling the bank basically, and we follow him throughout most of the movie. He's in the entirety of the movie, and we get this great like layered backstory of him. And the great thing with the Joker was he was so complex that we never truly understood his backstory. The backstory for him wasn't that important. We know that he's this guy that has been physically, mentally damaged somehow over time. We get all these different versions of how that happened. And in the end, that kind of doesn't matter. But with the character of Killmonger, it does matter. And I wanted to see that. I wanted to see that properly fleshed out throughout the entirety of the movie, just in the same way that the Joker was. Now, I said in the last one that Michael B. Jordan's performance perhaps wasn't that great. On 3 viewings, I will admit Michael B. Jordan delivers a really fantastic performance. He honestly does. I love Michael B. Jordan. I love just about everything he has been in. I think that maybe on the initial viewing, my disappointment with the character kind of overshadowed his performance. I was disappointed with just how underdeveloped the character was. I just feel like I wish he had more to work with. That's all. I wanted him to have more to work with. That brings me to another issue, was that the movie practically wastes 3 of the biggest Black Panther villains in the one movie. I felt like it squished 2 movies into one, in the fact that we have Claw as the main villain for the first half, and then Killmonger as the main villain of the second half. Andy Serkis, well, maybe a little bit over the top. I thought that character was a bit of fun. I wish he could have stuck around for a bit longer. And then Killmonger comes into it halfway through the movie, and then he's dead by the movie's end. These are 2 of the major villains from Black Panther, and they're dead, they're killed. This first movie should have been, have Killmonger there, develop his character, give him proper character development over the course of the entire movie, instead of 10 minutes worth of exposition at the halfway point. And then in the second movie, Killmonger is the major villain. He goes, you know what, I'm going to challenge you for the crown at the beginning of the second movie, and bam, it's on. And you get an entire movie where Killmonger is the villain. That's how it should have been handled. These are 2 amazing villains, and I felt like they didn't get their time. Likewise, M'Baku, who we have in this movie, of course, in the comics is Man-Ape. They've changed his name to the Great Gorilla in this movie, which I think was a very good move, because it's a bit racially insensitive to call the character Man-Ape. So Great Gorilla was very good that they changed that. This is another one of the major villains of Black Panther that they've thrown into this movie. At the end of the movie, he becomes kind of an ally. And I feel like, all right, so we've got the 3 villains, 2 are dead, and 1 has become a good guy. So I just kind of hope that maybe, we can look at it another way, though, I suppose, M'Baku kind of becomes an ally of Wakanda, maybe not so much T'Challa. So perhaps he could challenge T'Challa in a future movie, maybe. It could turn where M'Baku's like, look, I'm fighting for the cause of Wakanda, but I still don't believe what you're about. I don't know, maybe something like that could happen. Of course, Kraven the Hunter is another one of the major Black Panther villains, but apparently there are rights issues with that. I believe Sony has that character because of his involvement with the Spider-Man franchise, and Marvel just, look, it's very complicated. Yeah, 3 major villains wasted in the first one. I can't see what they're going to do with a sequel. I don't know. Another issue I had with Killmonger, sorry to go back to Killmonger, was that everyone's praising him as like this really groundbreaking Marvel villain. Marvel have had an issue with villains in the past where they're all sort of really one-dimensional, and Marvel follows a formula. It's very clear. 10 years and 18 movies in, it's very, very clear that they follow a formula. I've never really cared about that. I've been a big supporter of the Marvel formula for 10 years. It kind of gets to the point where you're like, all right, we're 10 years into this and 18 movies. We need a little bit of a change. Now, people are looking at this going, this is amazing. It's the best villain we've ever seen in a Marvel movie. This is the best villain we've seen in a superhero movie for a long time. I can't help but think that a lot of people who are watching this movie aren't as invested in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as some people might be, and are sort of basing this as just one villain. Are sort of just basing this as an individual villain, and that's kind of fine, that's okay. I think the villain was good if you're looking at it individually, other than the fact that his backstory, his character development just wasn't there. I feel like he was a decent villain. Yeah, I wish maybe he could have had more background, more development, but he was a decent villain. But if we look at this in the grand scheme of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's the same thing over again. Marvel have this habit of going, we're going to take a villain, which is basically a mirror image of our hero, except he's an evil version of the hero, and he uses the exact same tech that the hero uses to fight fight the villain. So Iron Man 1, we had Iron Man versing a bloke in an Iron Man suit. We had the Hulk versing the Abomination, who was basically another big hulking rage monster who was made with the same super soldier serum. Captain America fought against another super soldier. We had Thor fight against another god. Those two are kind of excusable because Thor has to fight Loki and Captain America has to fight the Winter Soldier, but I feel like it kind of falls under the same thing. Doctor Strange fights another Sorcerer Supreme. Ant-Man fights another bloke wearing a suit made of Pym particle, or his own version of the Pym particle, which shrinks down to the size of an insect. And now in Black Panther, we have this bloke who uses another Black Panther suit to fight against Black Panther, and I feel like we've seen it. I feel like I've seen this over and over and over again. I love Marvel. I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe so much, but I feel like now it's got to the point where I'm like, I love the fact that they push boundaries with movies like Thor Ragnarok and Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I feel like when you get a movie that comes along like this, where it's an origin story, which is a retread of past origin stories, you go, I've seen it and I want to see something new. That's it. That's coming from the standpoint of someone who's been very, very invested in this franchise for 10 years, 18 movies. I love this franchise. I never say anything against it, but it doesn't mean I can't sit here and just sort of express a few things that I had issues with. Other than that, those are my issues with this movie. I'm putting these out there. I know a lot of people don't agree with me. I have found that there are a handful of people that do agree with me out there. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this down below in the comments. If you think I'm an idiot, if you think that my opinions are stupid, then rip away. If you agree with me, I'd love to hear from you as well down there. So let's just talk a little bit about Black Panther and the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, sort of going forward from this point. We'll just do this very briefly. Like I said, from a villain standpoint, I don't know what they're going to do with the next movie, because I feel like they've taken these three villains. Two of them are dead. One's a good guy who could possibly turn a bad guy. I just don't know where they're going to go next with the Black Panther franchise, as in Black Panther 2. Probably be another 3 or 4 years maybe in phase 4. But of course, we got to get past Infinity War first. Infinity War is the big one. We know Wakanda has a major role to play in that movie. There's a massive large-scale battle that happens on Wakanda. It's going to be kick-ass. I thought Wakanda was amazing. Wakanda is incredible. The whole culture of Wakanda is amazing. The people there, the characters, the Dora Milaje are amazing. Same with Nakia and Shuri. I thought were really great, strong characters as well. T'Challa I just absolutely loved. Even M'Baku I thought was like a really standout character, even though he's only in it for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. So Wakanda, the whole thing I think is fantastic, and I want to see more of Wakanda. So I'm excited to see Wakanda in Infinity War. Why does the Infinity War wind up in Wakanda? A lot of people were assuming that the final Infinity Stone, the Soul Stone, was on Wakanda. We didn't see it in Black Panther. A lot of people are trying to make up their own theories, but again, I don't know. I don't like speculating. I don't like thinking about these things, because you just wind up disappointed, which was proven with The Last Jedi, when everyone had all these people had these amazing speculations, and it just turned out to be false in the end. So I don't like speculating, but I'm kind of interested to see what happens. I'm interested to see where this final Soul Stone is. If it's on Wakanda, I think that's fantastic. A lot of people are saying maybe they're on Wakanda because they take Vision to Wakanda to hide Vision, because Wakanda's this great reclusive city. At the end of Black Panther, we discover that Wakanda's now a free and open nation. They're sharing their resources with the world, and they're sharing themselves. They're showing the world, this is who we are, come and visit. I don't think they would be taking the Vision there to hide him, but maybe they will. I don't know. I don't know why Thanos' Black Order has come to Wakanda, but it's going to be really awesome to see. Of course, again, we saw Bucky at the end, the very last credit scene. We have those kids calling him the White Wolf. I discussed this in another video, which was my post-credit scenes explained. If you want to check that out in detail, go and check it out. I'll chuck a little link for it up there somewhere, and also at the end of the video if you want to check that out as well. Basically, the White Wolf is a nemesis of the Black Panther in the comics, but is also sort of running the secret police in Wakanda. So it looks like this is kind of the role that Bucky's going to take. Maybe he is so powerful, he's running such a powerful army that Thanos feels, I don't know, as I said, I don't like speculating. But look, we're too far off track here. Black Panther, it's a really, really, really great movie. I just felt like the last hour sort of sucked a little bit of the life out of it for me. I just feel like it wasn't well developed. Killmonger was just a character that just wasn't well developed. It was a retread of past Marvel heroes. I understand why people relate to him. and you know, power to you. I think that's fantastic. We all relate to characters on different levels, and I think that's the great thing about cinema, about movies, about storytelling. So look, if you love the character, that's fantastic. For me, his character didn't work. I feel like from a storytelling and narrative point of view, it didn't work for me. But otherwise, I really loved this movie. I gave this movie 3.5 out of 5 in my regular review. I feel like I'm going to stand by that. I'm going to stand by my initial review. This movie is an easy 4, bordering on a 4.5 effort, up until the last hour of the movie, where I feel like it lost an entire point, or you know, half a point for me personally anyway. So I'm going to stick with that 3.5 vibranium samples out of 5. To me, this isn't one of the greatest Marvel movies out there. I love just about every Marvel movie, but I feel like this one kind of sits middle rung for me, just because I feel like it had a lot of issues. Had the movie held up for the whole time, like had been a full 4-star effort for the entire movie, I think I would have knocked it up pretty high. But for me, this movie just didn't, it fell short for me, unfortunately, and we're gonna leave that at that. Now, I know I've uploaded a lot of Black Panther videos over the last week. This is the last one, I absolutely promise. If you are, you know, sick and tired of seeing the Black Panther videos, we're moving on to other stuff this week, but I've had some great success with these videos, so I just wanted to get this one last one out there, just to kind of freely express my thoughts that I had on this movie in a way where I could do a little bit of spoiling. So I feel like it's been good to be able to be able to say these things in a spoilery way, because I wasn't really able to say much in the last review. So yeah, this is going to be my last Black Panther video. If you by any chance haven't seen my past Black Panther videos, I've done quite a few of them. If you want to check them out, I'm going to put links to them at the very end of the video as well. You can check them out, click them, check them out, and have a look for yourself. Look guys, if you're a first time viewer of my channel, you've enjoyed this review, you'd like to check out more of my reviews in the future, then please, at the end of the video, hit that big old subscribe button up on your screen. Give me a little bit of support. To all my regular viewers out there, thank you once again for joining me. To absolutely everybody, don't forget to hit that like button down below. It does a great deal in getting my videos out there. Look guys, I hope I'll see you all again soon. Until next time though, take care, and I hope you have a marvelous day.